Believe it or not, weekends on the Smallholding sometimes start slowly, without the rush of the weekday, and finding their own gentle rhythm in the sounds of buckets filling, the soft clink of a gate latch, and the animals lifting their heads to greet the day. The fields are a patchy gold right now from the lack of rain, crunching underfoot in places. Our steer has just been turned out onto new pasture, which is as dry as the rest, but to him, it's a change of scene, and he's loving stretching his legs. It's worth remembering in times like this to drink it all in. Summer has its easy graces, the warmth of the sun on your skin and the scent of the harvest flowers, or the long, lazy evenings with the swallows darting and dipping around you, minding their own business. And of course, summer brings its challenges too, but in moments like these, we like to wrap up that feeling and keep it close. Because the truth of smallholding life can be that joy and heartache share the very same ground, and you'll have very little input as to when one gives way to the other.
Right, welcome back to another weekend. I've just got home from work, thought I'd take advantage of this beautiful weather again, and we're going to have to clear this out. Can't put it off for any longer. So it was all cleared out at one point, but we've just let the nettles grow back because we couldn't decide what we're going to do with it. So we're going to clear it all out, get it covered over, suppress the weeds till we decide what we're going to do with it. It's supposed to be raining tomorrow, so we've got some plans what we're going to do with the chickens tomorrow. Maybe get some of them processed for the kitchen. We'll see what that brings. So for now, to continue with this rubbish job.
Oh, thanks, Grace.
Look.
They're absolutely gorgeous. Grace actually grew all of these herself. She is hugely into her cut flowers at the moment. We're 2 beds in and I have a feeling that she's going to try and take over more, but how gorgeous are all of these?
Basically, we'll suppress that down the way, or whatever grows on it, we just put a lot more down.
Yeah, yeah.
Just get all this.
Oh, bless you, Rodney.
You don't have to bloody put an ugly pit, like, what you call it? Like trellis up to keep the dogs off, aren't we? Because the dogs are just going to be all over it.
See the little daisies? See that?
Looks like chamomile, doesn't it?
There's loads in there, but they've died
Right, well, we're just going to leave that like that until we decide what we're doing. Our first initial thought was to run some railway sleepers laid on the side, double height, all the way down. But the actual car park curbstones slope down, so we need to measure it out because I think it'll be above it that time. So when we fill it in, by the time we get to the bottom, the soil will be overflowing onto the car park. So that's the first thought, because Grace has filled both of them new planters I made for over there with some flowers and they look amazing. So we might turn her onto this job and fill this with flowers and make this just a border for the garden. But we don't know, but one thing's for sure, it needs sorting for all the weeds, so that's done for now. At least we can just run the lawnmower over this bit and cut it. So we'll just leave it like that until we get sorted.
Right, I'm moving. Ow, knees. Ow.
We timed that absolutely perfectly because it wasn't long before the rain came, and no one's going to be complaining about rain around here at the moment because everything is so blooming dry. But anyway, cue the next morning when things started to take a bit of a turn downhill. This was Monday morning when Grace and I went out to feed and we noticed that something wasn't quite right. Do not steady on his front ones though. Well, he might not be weight bearing on it though, even if it's just resting.
No, when he's walking. His whole body's unsteady.
So at this point the pigs had been fed, and normally they will knock you flying to get to their feed, which the other one had, but this guy had decided to hang around at his pen, so that's always going to be a bad sign when something's off its food. So Grace and I were stood around trying to figure out what the best next move was, and we decided to monitor him for an hour or two to see if he kind of changed, picked up, went downhill, and just to monitor whether he was going to eat, whether he was drinking, whether he was going to the toilet, etc. But you could clearly see that he wasn't feeling his best. Well, it's Tuesday evening already. We managed to get finished with the nettles that Stephen was taking out at the weekend, but unfortunately that has set his shoulder back, which is what we kind of expected on the previous video, wasn't it? Anyway, we've got good and bad news. Good news is we've finally got the Discovery apples harvested from the garden. The wasps only took one, I think. It has been so windy here for the last yesterday and today storm. Is it Florin or Floris? I can't remember the name of it, has hit us. So we've not been able to get anything else done, and all of these apples were going to end up as windfalls. So Stephen's been and picked them. That's the good news. We're going to get to processing these now. And because, as I said on the previous video, we're not going to be able to eat them all fresh. Some of them you'll see they've got holes in and things that are going to start rotting, and we really don't want to waste them. So we're going to preserve these by dehydrating them and give that a go this time. Stephen has found this finger losing mandolin. I'm not going to touch it because it's dropping to bits.
I have just put that together.
Sorry. I won't touch it anymore. And he's going to do that because you can guarantee I'll lose a finger otherwise. So that's the good news. The bad news, we're going to get to talking a little bit more about this later in the video. But unfortunately, the pigs that made their escape a week or two ago, we're having a right old week with them. One of them has taken really ill. And to be quite honest, we're not too sure what's going to happen. So going to do these apples, get my mind taken off it, and then I'll sit down and have a chat with you and talk you through exactly what the situation is. See if that's any better.
I really put the handle here for a reason.
I said that.
Well, I've got the hang of it in the end. Still got all my fingers. They've turned out pretty good. Nice and thin to go in the dehydrator, so they won't take long to dehydrate. So we're just going to dunk them all in this 3-part lemon juice, 3-part water, 1-part lemon juice solution. Carry them over to the dehydrator and get them in. That's just to stop them going brown when they're drying off. So we'll just dunk them all in there. And then mix them up. Get them all coated.
Hope your hands are clean, Stephen. There's that face again.
Right. So we've got 4 trays of thinly sliced apples there going in. We'll put them on about 60 degrees for about 6 hours, check them before we go to bed, see how they're doing. Wobbly on his legs.
Still no interest in food at all. Stephen will explain to you just now what we've done to help with pain relief and any potential viruses, but he's just checking here to see if the pig is, well, first of all, weight bearing or struggling with any pressure on any of the hind legs, because the pain seemed to be coming from the back end, from the middle to the back end. So we did wonder if the other pig had caused a trauma by standing on him, breaking his leg, but he was weight bearing on it, so that was highly unlikely, or just causing some kind of general trauma, which is what Stephen's trying to investigate there.
No, but he's had a good drink again, so as long as he's getting fluid in him.
Well, as promised, we're down with the pigs to give you an update on what's happening, and as you can see, there's only one pig with me, and if you've been watching our videos for a while, you'll know that I've always said if there's only one pig, it means either one's escaped or there's something wrong with the other one, and that's what happened on Monday morning when I came down to feed. Only this guy here, which is the bigger of the two, was out, and I thought, okay, has he escaped? But he didn't seem stressed out, so I knew that the other one was still within his sight. And unfortunately, he was just laid down in his in the shelter in the pig pen. So I went over hoping that he was just asleep, but knowing in my heart of hearts that actually there was something either wrong. He'd either passed away or there was something seriously wrong with him. And there seems to be that there's something seriously wrong with him. So we monitored him for a little bit just to make sure it wasn't something that was he just had a stiff leg, or he took a bit of a beating off this guy and he was going to come round. We gave him water and tried to entice him with food. He wasn't interested in the food, but he had the water from when we took it over and gave it to him manually. Managed to get him up, and it was clear that there was either a pain in his back legs or there was something wrong that we couldn't see virus wise, because he was very wobbly and couldn't hold his own weight. So again, we monitored him, and then on Monday evening we had some penicillin given to him. So we've had 2 lots of penicillin Monday night and Tuesday night. It's now Wednesday and we have seen 0 improvement from this poor chap. There is no physical marks whatsoever on him. We haven't got a clue what else it could be. Medical advice just says, these things happen. Stephen and I are very much in the situation where, well, first of all, from a smallholder perspective, one of the worst things is losing an animal, but even worse than that is putting an animal through any form of pain that it's really doesn't have to go through. If you're trying to give it a treatment or something, you're causing it a bit of pain during that time, then tough love, we're all for that, but certainly not for it when there's an issue like this. We've put a lot into these pigs, financially, emotionally. We've raised them. It's an absolutely huge loss to think that we're going to be losing one pig, and especially because he's had penicillin now, there would be a withdrawal period. Even if he did pick up, we'd have to have a withdrawal period before he could go to the abattoir. But because we don't know what's wrong with him, and we're not going to be going down that path of finding out, we're basically going to have to waste this pig, which is really, really hard to deal with for him and for us. What it does mean though is that this chap here is set up like a dog, as I say. Unfortunately, we're going to have to send him the abattoir a month earlier than expected. You're going to have to excuse the wind. He wasn't due to go for at least another month, but there's no way that it's fair or safe to keep him on his own. They haven't done very well separated at all. He's doing okay at the moment, but he knows that the pig's there in the pen, so it's not going to be right to keep him. So he's booked in for Friday, and now Stephen and I are in the dilemma of, do we keep this chap who is currently laid down in his bed until then, or do we try and do something before? But then what happens if this guy if it goes wrong or if he becomes unsafe for himself. It's a lot to process at the moment, I'll be honest with you. He is still able to get up to go to the toilet and to drink, by the way, so we are not past the stage of no return, but we're very bloody close to it. So yeah, we're still managing to keep him hydrated, but you know, we're doing that. He's not doing it of his own accord. If we left him, he'd be dead by now. So very difficult decisions to be made on the Smallholding today.
Right, it's Thursday morning, early morning. We've just come down to check on the pigs and feed everything, and unfortunately he's shown no improvements. You can see him in the background there. We've had to get him up and give him some water out the bucket. He's shown no interest in the feed. Like Tracy said, he's had 2 shots of penicillin and shown no real sign of improvement. So we've had to come to the unfortunate decision that we're going to send this guy here. We've just tagged him this morning, so he's booked in at the abattoir tomorrow, and we'll just have to put the other one to sleep, unfortunately. It's going to be a big loss to the Smallholding, not only for, we hate to see an animal in pain or in discomfort, but also a loss financially and a big loss for our meat this year. So like I say, this guy's going in. We don't really think he's up to weight. He's a good size, but he's not up to weight what we'd like him at. But we can't really keep one on their own, and we don't want to put him through any more stress and discomfort as he's in. So unfortunately, that's life. When you're only dealing with a few animals, it's a big loss. I wish it was a better outcome for the video, for you guys, for us, for everything, but unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way it goes. It seems a lot more upsetting when it's a bigger animal. I don't know if that sounds stupid or whatever, but when we see, like, when we have an ill chicken or a duck or whatever, it doesn't seem as upsetting or as heartbreaking it is when we've got someone like a size of a pig or a sheep or something, when we lose one of them. But I suppose that's life, and we just have to get on with it. And just for those who are going to say, well, you're going to kill him anyway, this is what we raise them for, like this, to be happy, healthy pigs till the last day. We don't like to see anything upset or in pain or in discomfort. This is what we like to raise, and this is all they'll know. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that. It's not the point of the exercise why we try to raise our own animals.
That was a very untimely standing on my foot, Sonic. So now the decision has been made. It is simply keeping him as comfortable as possible and making sure that the pig that was not poorly didn't bully him or interfere with him too much. So the healthy pig is actually the one that is laid down and just turning around and having a cuddle here, believe it or not. His character has changed completely over the week that the other pig wasn't very well. So Friday finally came round, which is when the other pig was booked into the abattoir, and a completely different feel here on the Smallholding to the usual abattoir days, which are always challenging anyway on their own. But we've got a very good friend who came around to help us out and support Stephen during this time, as well as Grace and I, who were also right down there in the field, making sure that we could do everything that we could. We will explain this carpet situation, which is what's just been handed over the fence there, later on in the video. But we said our goodbyes. We made sure that everybody was as comfortable as they could. At this point, the other pig, who is not very well, is still with us. He is in the pen, and we decided that he would not go until after this healthy chap left to go to the abattoir. Excuse the extreme close-up. So clearly Grace and I are in the front of the Land Rover. We have the pig in the trailer on the back, who actually went in without any issue whatsoever, bless him. So much so that I didn't even get a chance to get the camera out. I was busy getting some food for him, but he went in without any food. Stephen and our good friend Gary, thank you Gary, by the way, are dispatching the other pig as we speak. He will then be picked up by the registered company who does that. So we're off to the abattoir now.
He's sitting down.
We're back. It's rather strange coming to a completely empty field because the pony's in the stable. Just kept him out the way. I'm just going to make sure that where we got in to get the pig out is secure for the pony to come back in, just so we don't want him in where the pigs were, because obviously some of the droppings on the floor and things, and we haven't been in and checked it from that point of view. But yeah, a really strange feeling. So we're going to do some other stuff today, and I'll catch up with you at the end about everything. What better way to put the thoughts of this morning behind us than to harvest some of our own food. So down here I've got a few potatoes, just enough for Stephen and I, because nobody else will be eating them. That's going to be over this weekend, but tonight I am looking to do some beetroot burgers because I've never made them before. So we've got some monsters in here by the look of it. In fact, for goodness sake, that's huge. So let's get picking these, put a smile on our faces. Now this one isn't flowering or anything, so I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. The calendula is actually going over some of these. I've just checked, might end up being okay for seed. So I'm just pushing that out the way because it's encroaching a bit, and see what we can do with this thing here. Separate it out. I'll be able to give the leaves that are kind of holy and too much to, oh my goodness, to the chickens. Oh my god. Let go. Wow. That's absolutely huge. I'm hoping it's not woody or anything inside, because it doesn't look it. It's still all nice and tender around the top. Probably only need one of those for the burgers. There you go for size on my hand. That's a good massive beetroot. And just in case that one is woody, I'm going to pick a few more, because I also want to get these preserved for on the winter pantry, so that we can just put our hands on them and use them nice and quickly. They're all tangled together. Oh. They're just gorgeous, aren't they? Absolutely beautiful. Now this one's an example of what I was looking for in terms of going woody. You can see maybe how stiff I can't bend that, whereas I can bend these guys. You see that's a lot more flexible. This is stiff all the way down into the root. So this would have been a prime example to go to the pigs. Wrong day for that, I guess. So I will probably put this in with the chickens, and they'll certainly have the leaves, and if the root is left, then I will put it in the compost. I was just going to get another one from this patch here, and if I thought those were big, goodness gracious me, excuse the shadow, but I can't even get in this bed. Can you see how tight to the edge this one is? I'm going to try and pull this out with you. All of this is one humongous intertwined. Can you see? It's more like a flipping Swede. Come on, hang on, I'll be back in a sec. And I thought that one was going to be big. That's just ridiculous. I wonder if that one's going to be woody. It looks like a cow's heart or something. It's absolutely huge. If I put it down next to the others, you'll get an idea. Like that was the biggest one that I had. And that's huge, in my opinion. That's kind of more the size that I would expect. That's just crazy. Looking at the carpet.
Right, well Well, it's Friday afternoon, I've just got back from work. Just come down the field to secure the pig pen, just to keep Sonic out of it. Tracy just had this carpet temporarily over it to keep him out. But we just used this morning to put on the ramp of the trailer, because it's a bit on the feet. We've noticed the other years that we've done, when they touch the metal, they don't like it and they run off. So we put that on, it worked a treat. So just a quick update on the pigs. We took him to the slaughterhouse on his own. He was absolutely fine in the trailer. He got off there, no bother, at the lairage, walked down the lairage, went in the pen, no bother, didn't seem stressed, didn't seem bothered to where he was at, didn't seem bothered he was on his own. So that was all good. We've had the movement forms back, so he's been dispatched, he's been dressed. So I'll be getting him back on Tuesday, and then we'll be processing him for the freezer. We'll show you on a different video what we get off him and everything. But the other one, that was Pooley, we dispatched him as soon as the fit one was out the way, and we decided to open him up to see what the actual problem was. And it turned out he had a massively inflamed intestines. They were all red and blotchy. So he'd had a couple of rounds of penicillin, so there's no way he would have went into the food chain, and no way we'd have consumed him, because we would have just been questioning it all the time. So it was the best thing we did. It's a disappointment. It's been a emotional week for all of us, and a big disappointment, not just financially but for food security. We're going to have to think about what we're going to do next for that. But over the 5 years we have been keeping pigs, these are the only ones that we've had one problem with. So touch wood, it's going to be the last. But yeah, I don't know what else to say on that. Maybe it's the bigger the animal, the harder it hurts, but that's just it. So we're just going to have a chilled out night tonight. Tracy's going to make a few homemade burgers, have a few drinks, because we've got a busy weekend ahead, and hopefully a few more fun things on for next week.
If anyone's wondering what we did with the carcass of the one that was obviously not very well, the local fallen stock person came and took them away. First thing, actually, we're reading up to get the first appointment there. So that's all dealt with, and no issue, there's nothing left on the Smallholding from that perspective. There is a charge for that, if anyone's wondering, so add it to the list of everything that we didn't expect to be paying out for. But now I'm going to go and make some homemade beetroot burgers, which I'm smiling at because Stephen has described them as yum. I'll do some meat ones for him. I'm going to use those beetroots that you saw me harvesting in the garden earlier, so that's something to take our mind of everything that's going on. I'll show you those in just a second, but for now we've got some very exciting things to start next week's video with, which is tomorrow for us. So we will bid you farewell, talk to you soon, and let's have a look what those beetroot burgers turned out like. Steve's having two. Steve's going to say he was right, but don't judge a book by its cover. They were absolutely gorgeous.